physical therapy with him, and
Which I think he needed. Definitely.
that's what he was
Yeah.
staying away from.
Yeah, that's what he,
But he's reconfiguring the house too, so
Good.
he can stay on that first floor.
yep.
Got places to be able to work too, and I guess.
This getting used to regulations is a painful process for everybody,
Yep.
So this one's got four-wheel drive.
except Jeff.
Oh, yeah, I know, but when he
The
had
real
it, it's just about
beneficiary.
head. So,
He's got a job,
modified golf cart.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was working
and
on
it
it.
looks like, it looks like you're
You
not
have a
gonna
boat
be
break?
bored.
Thought I heard the board. Something like it was a pretty good night. Was it well attended? Was it well attended?
Yeah, and a lot of houses decorated
Oh, that's
too.
Yeah.
The biggest, there was one that was Christmas in July.
Oh, really?
So it's just all of Christmas. So, yeah.
It's kind of fun. Good. Any word from Adam?
Oh, I know that. I know. My daughter sent me Facebook. So it's been on there. This way, they don't have people.
Everybody ready to go?
Yeah.
How did we run out of tape last time? It just stopped recording?
So, when
Did
we
it stop?
I don't know, that's what we were
the
Here's Adam,
transmitting.
Yeah, I know.
Here's
four
Adam,
of them in one little job.
here's Adam.
Yep. You're kidding.
Oh, Adam's here, okay.
That's a chair.
Yeah.
Standing up.
Stops.
Brooke Ryder standing up the whole time.
All right. I've got 7 o'clock,
That's good, like my mother used to say.
Monday, July 24th, the regular meeting of Planning and Zoning. Call a meeting to order. Roll call, I'm George Clausen, the chairman. Peter Marchand's vice chair. John Cooney, Craig Sandins, absent excused. Willie Platt, Troy Lemire, Charlene Lavoy, and Adam Pagliaro. Those are Troy, Charlene, and Adam are alternates. Appoint you tonight to sit for Craig's position. Okay. He's out, absent excused. Okay, so starting the meeting, this morning, Lance let me know that the applicant for ECAD is asked to withdraw their application until they finish everything they need to finish, and then they'll make a new application. So, my thought first would be we continue the public hearing and we'll bring whatever needed to be said tonight, because there's a lot of enforcement stuff. So I think what we'll do, we won't open the public hearing, so they won't put something on because they're not here either. But I will open the public hearing part, or the public comment part. And this whole enforcement thing is really a key to, you know, what we're dealing with that particular piece of property specifically. And you guys have been helpful contributing to what's going on and what's happening. And the hours of operation was something we asked them to provide us. You'd expect them to be adhering to it, because that's what, one of the conditions that was, the approval was granted. And they have not been honoring that, obviously, for all these years. So that's just one element of compliance. So they have asked to have it withdrawn. I mean, there's so much paperwork with this application, and you're aware of the things that you supplied us as well. So it has been withdrawn, so we won't continue the public hearing. It was better advised not to do that. So let's open up public comment, and then, you know, we can give some feedback too about what we're trying to do, and we're gonna, from the commission standpoint, indicate what we expect from our people here on our staff. So, be my guest.
Bill Bozo, 155 Newfield Road. So, so the application's withdrawn, that's fine. There's still the matter of a lot of compliance. The parking lot with no permitting, the water runoff. Obviously, this time it took my driveway out as well as Kristen's driveway. The fencing is still an issue.
Sure.
Hour of operations, you said you had addressed. I wanna say he's under the impression that, okay, we went through the application, we're gonna do these few little things on the list, and then we can go about our business. We won't worry about the fence, we won't worry about the water. I'm just concerned with the enforcement part of it.
We are as well. You sent us pictures of the fence that was tipped over, and is it still that way?
He stood the post back up, wired the fence back up to the thing.
But it
put a
still
couple
doesn't have
2x4s
the
in, it doesn't have the
inserts.
slats or.
Okay, that's part of what I had on notes.
But honestly, George, the fence is inadequate. If you come down that hill, which I'm sure you have, come down that hill, when you're in the car, you see right over the top of the fence.
Well-
And the lights come right over the fence onto the property.
Problem is, we gave them a permit for that second building, and then I think you sued them, and that got denied. And that included the fencing and so forth that was to 6 feet high. And you're right, it's not adequate.
But what I've discovered, and I believe is in your files tonight, that was approved, and what was overlooked by the entire commission, wetlands, everybody, was the 35-foot setback of that road and whatnot, which is in the regulations. I saw a copy of it today, that any commercial property, any non-residential use, any road, fencing, whatnot, will have a 35-foot setback from the immediate neighbor, and that was overlooked this entire time.
Well, let's see what they come in with another application, because this last one that came in was a modification to what we had already approved. So in my mind, we've got the element of fencing, we've got a previous approval that showed that they were supposed to have inserts in there. And we did get an email from them asking if this would fit that. So we're gonna talk about, from the commission standpoint, talk about that tonight. But it's still gonna be the 6 feet unless they come in with a new application, which we had. Then we're gonna address that fencing again.
Okay, but as far as, again, I guess the question I have, so as far as the privacy buffer, the 35 feet, it was approved, but that was never addressed. So because it wasn't addressed, now that it's approved, oh well?
No, I think, well, first of all, it wasn't addressed. And when we had the application come into this commission that I'm chairing, it was in the same place but expanded from 16 feet to 20 feet the whole time. And then it had to be paved because it had to be all seasoned to get fire equipment and so forth up there adequately. And there was a curbing put in there on the whole side, on toward your property that went all the way up the,
Yeah, I
to
guess
the-
my question though is the road shouldn't be on a property line, it should have a 35-foot setback.
I understand that, but it was already approved in 2016 to be there.
That was approved as part of a site plan, not as part of a special permit.
Yeah, I mean,
Unfortunately, and it was
looking
sold
back
to us
at it-
as a kennel on residential property.
Yeah.
But it was also, the road was also approved on a single-family residence, was
Yes,
it
it
not?
was, back many
Yeah,
years
but-
before that, but we made him expand the width of it at that time in 2016.
So the site plan part of it, bracket 16, was, in my estimation, should never have been accepted here by the commission. It should have gone through a public hearing, you should have had notification. I don't think there's anybody that's been here in this room has objected to what they're trying to do. It's
Correct.
where they're trying to do it.
Correct.
And we went up to the neighbor's house above it during the winter in the snow. But anyways, so we've got some things that were approved back at 16 that we have to live with and then expand it to, the width of the driveway. That was never adequately done. The fencing is an issue that we intended to, accomplish this time. The hours of operation, this is a rural area, and they need to either adhere to what they told us they were gonna do, or find another in my mind, find another location. I mean, that's my personal opinion, but anyways, so all the things that you've contributed to us, we have, and we're aware of this, and our enforcement people are here tonight. So that's how we're gonna deal with this, and they've got until August 21st to comply with what they've already had approved conditionally. So if that doesn't happen, as far as our commission, what we've talked about before is, we're not gonna authorize anybody to approve anything else. They've got plenty of good time to do this. Anybody else be set, are you set with what you,
I just wanna clarify, so basically, even though it was approved and it violated the regulations, the 35-foot setback, I'm just stuck with it now because it was approved?
that's true.
Okay.
I mean, it's unfortunately, but that was done back in
It is.
16. I agree with you.
It-
I agree with you,
it is.
because this commission has talked about setbacks and so forth, and there's enough property there. Obviously, you got wetlands to deal with, and you're all dealing with the wetlands during this whole, the last, months. So, just let us get the inspections and get the performance done, and then if they come back in with a new application, let's see what they provide to us.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and on the water runoff issue, I think that,
Yeah.
that needs to be addressed by inland wetlands, unfortunately, because they approved all of that. And
I was actually.
our hands are tied with that part
I
of
was
it.
actually asked to pass it on to you from Mr. Ailing, couldn't make it tonight. He
No.
had an emergency come up, but he feels, in his strong opinion, that a civil engineer be brought in and do a hydrological study on that property, a professional that's not paid for by the town, that's paid for by the organization.
No, he's discussed that with me also.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am?
Of course. I do want to submit these. I did not know that
Well,
Lance
but
had
we,
given you.
we don't have a public hearing open, so.
No,
it's-
this is a
Public comment
comment,
section.
so.
Okay,
Yeah,
So
so I
you-
can still.
so you can accept
Yes.
documents then, for the record?
Well, it's a public comment, so if you've got something to submit to us, we'll
Right.
put it in the file.
I do. Yeah, because I did not know, Lance, I brought, actually, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not gonna read, I won't read the whole thing, because you guys have copies and you've addressed a lot of things, but Chris Roberts, 151 Newfield Road. Not reading all of that, my concern here is we're all in agreement about all of the not operating, my driveway getting washed out, we all get that. My question here now is, I'm having some trouble having confidence that enforcement's gonna happen. That's where, because this has been allowed to happen for so long with different commissions, so I'm not getting warm and fuzzies here, okay? In some of my emails, I've been emailing Commissioner Clausen, Lance, and a few others with all of those pictures, and I talked about habitual non-compliance. It's, my doctoral research was on compliance. How funny is that, right? So I am actually a subject matter expert in habitual non-compliance, and it's a psychological thing. Dale is not going to comply. You can give him as many chances as you want, but he is, in my professional opinion, a bully hiding behind the mission statement of a wonderful organization. And if the town doesn't do enforcement, the next commission after this, and the commission after that, and the commission after that, it's gonna keep getting kicked down the road, and that's not right. And so I'm hoping that you guys will stick within the law and shut him down if he's not compliant. I am really tired of sitting out on my porch and taking pictures at 10 of 9 at night, or 6:30 in the morning, or having them training their dogs in the lower field. I mean, this is, it just really is.
Sure.
And it's like, so, my argument tonight is not with Dale and ECAD. My argument, for lack of a better word, is with this commission and the lack of enforcement. We have to end
I
it here. We
agree.
can't kick it down the road any longer. And I'm not going to take any more pictures.
No, thank you.
Because I
You don't
think,
need
yeah, I was sending them and not realizing my phone was sending the emails twice. So they were getting inundated.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my comments.
No, your whole point on enforcement is something that I've been talking about for 30 years. And we've had to go through our ups and downs with regards to staffing here. But we have a new gentleman taking care of our zoning enforcement, and he's making headway, but it's a starting point to take over what hasn't been done in so long. And this thing has completely been ignored. We kept being told that they had a CO of some sort up there, and there's nothing there.
Right.
So, that whole business has just gotten crazy.
Yeah, it is beyond the ridiculous.
It's not just this, there's other things in town that have gone on.
Yeah.
And we're gonna talk about that tonight.
Okay, all right, thank you.
But thank you very much for your assistance with this. Does anybody else from the public have anything they'd like to talk about? Yes, ma'am.
Candace Bouchard, 135 Riverton Road. I'm here again about signage. It's a month later, and I see no change whatsoever.
Same thing I've asked today too.
So,
So why don't we,
Kind of on the same thing we're talking about, enforcement.
Yeah. So what's going on here, Lance?
Which would you like me to refer to that? How about Candace? I want to say thank you again for coming your first time. We did have a conversation with Hassan about July 15th was the deadline for him to have all the temporary signage gone, the roof sign with the canopy. Obviously, nothing has happened. So we're doing follow-up now for enforcement now. Unfortunately, we have to play that way. But I've spoken with him directly, and he knows. that
And
he's
what's
in
follow-up?
compliance. Yeah.
What's
What
follow-up?
is a follow-up?
Well,
What is a
follow-up now will
follow-up?
be the violation on the land records, and we're gonna tell them that the condition that you guys put on for the fencing for
Well,
the dumpsters
I
as
mean,
well.
it
has
should
to
be
happen.
cease and desist or something.
Yeah, we got,
This isn't gonna go on forever.
Yeah.
there's several.
We've been talking
several
about this
things
since you
that
got
are
here
going
6
on.
months ago.
Well, let's stay with this one, because this one I've been working with.
I know, but
Okay.
okay, Mr. Coconuts.
Lance, it's not being videoed.
Not at all?
It's not on.
Okay.
Hey, Charlie.
Okay.
So this is not filming anything?
Well, we're watching all of it, but we're not hearing
You're
it.
not
That's
hearing?
because of this.
No, I think it's the tape.
No, can you hear them?
No.
Nothing.
Can't hear anything.
You and Tom are watching?
Because last time,
Jesus,
no
thank
one
you.
was speaking into the microphone.
that works. I can hear you.
But I don't think any of you were heard because you have to talk right into it.
Oh, lovely.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you. So, what's the answer with regards?
So the short answer for that is it's follow-up, and both Jeff and I will be tag teaming that one as well. Yeah, I mean, we told him July 15th
But you've
was
got more than one place here in town.
Right, those are all being addressed at the same time. And we're
So are you sending them a letter and then a verbal follow-up?
It's no friendly letter any longer. Now it just goes violation on the records, and fines are in place. And then
What are-
So here's the thing. Okay, you know I was a zoning officer and I did this type of work. Okay, so what you got to do is you write them a letter and tell them that if they don't comply within 10 days,
14.
or 14 days, their permit will be pulled, and they are no longer in business. You have to have teeth in the game. You going over there, walking over there and saying, oh, you need to take your sign down, and then you follow up 10 more days. Oh, well, you know, it would be nice if you take your sign down. That does nothing.
You need a form
You
letter.
gotta stand up, put teeth in the game. You pull their permit and they lose their business to run, they're gonna fix it. And that's how I handled it, and it got done, and that's the way you need to do it. No more of this pussyfooting around, trying to be friends with everybody. You have to set, because the problem is, they know you're not gonna do nothing. Okay?
well, I don't know about that. We are getting.
It's
quite
been
a bit
going
of
on for
compliance.
years, Lance.
Well,
Years.
again, I understand your
I'm
frustration.
not pointing
'cause
it
you've
at
seen it for
you
years,
directly, but
no.
before you too.
Right.
All right. So this is it. This is time. Put the hammer down.
Got it.
Done.
So
Pull
we
the permit.
have-
If you don't want to comply to the conditions, then you can't do it. I'm sorry, but I'm tired of this
I know,
crap.
we don't need to scream.
I
Well,
get excited over this
I
stuff.
know,
I
I know.
absolutely
That's why I'm here.
understand.
You don't have to get
I'm
excited.
just
I'm
tired
not
of
going
going to
away.
meeting after meeting
I
after meeting
appreciate
and hearing
you
the
coming
same
in,
thing.
the whole commission does,
Yeah.
but it's,
Yeah.
but your appearance to us 2 weeks ago,
A month ago, the
Okay.
Technically it was a month
27th,
ago.
I
Okay.
came back for a month because they
Yep.
had one more month, and I give everyone a month. I don't think 2 weeks, something's gonna happen.
no, but the point though is
Yeah.
we're not seeing any changes in any of
Right.
this stuff. And
So
you
can I
try
just
to
say
be-
what happened with that one specifically? We gave them the first 30 days as temporary signage, renewed for another 30 days. That came up on the 15th. And I spoke with them before that. I was like, okay, but now we're in enforcement mode and it has to be a violation. I'm totally fine with going that way and saying, close them down, but we're trying to be business friendly also in town,
Of
so.
course, as
we're
long
not-
as you comply, we'll be business friendly.
Right.
But the tarp, it's on a roof, it's not a sign, and it's a tarp.
I agree.
You're not allowed to have temporary signage.
And it was too big to begin with.
Well, you're never allowed to have temporary signage. You put signage up.
We can have temporary signage, but you can have it for
I
30
didn't read
days.
that.
30 days.
Yep,
Oh, I thought that was the welcomes, like I'm open, okay.
it's very vague.
So Liz,
So-
you're trying to say that you want to be business friendly, but do you absolutely think that these people are gonna close their business because you told them to do what they agreed to do when they got their permit? We're
You
not
know-
asking for anything other than that.
Right.
What's
Shook my
actually-
hand and said, yes, we know, we'll take them down, and didn't. So you're
And
right,
it's-
now it's, you
Well,
drop
that's
the
been the
hammer.
history
Right.
of this community. Some enforcement has been done, and others have not been done, and that's been the history for the last 30 years.
Yeah, and that's it, because the other ones, the other businesses have complied, and these are not. But there was no follow-up, or you didn't recognize it because they blend in so well that you don't see these tarps on buildings. Or, the zoning enforcement, I don't know, Mr. Coconuts, how his sign got up,
I don't even know where that is. Where's Mr. Coconuts?
Mama Fo's block.
Oh, okay.
It used to be a nail salon.
Okay,
And so that's, I know, it's Mr. Coconut, Mr. period in a capital C, lowercase c right next to it.
okay.
But I think they've only been open for a month, but someone approved that signage,
Mm-mm.
you have to.
Yeah, it didn't come in.
But how can someone open a business without signage being approved?
They just did it.
They
just
did it.
That's what goes on around here, they
Right.
just do it.
So then there's no one's looking at the
We
street.
approved a much
Got it.
smaller sign.
Pardon?
We approved a much smaller sign. It's in the records, the size that we
For
approved.
Mr. Coconuts?
For
For that
Mr.
one
Coconuts?
specifically, or?
For,
Oh, no, we're moved
No,
on.
oh,
no,
Mr.
Powell's Market
Coconut.
is right.
oh,
Yep.
down by the.
There's a whole slew of them.
There is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all the other ones you've noted that are temporary signage, totally get it. Little Fox Studios and.
Yeah.
Well, put Mr. Coconut on your
Put
list.
Mr. Coconut.
No, I gave you all the street
You
numbers.
did. I know, I have them.
I didn't use names.
Yeah.
I don't want to use names.
No, that's
I
fine.
just want compliance.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
and I think that there's more consistent enforcement. We're gonna get people complying.
We didn't have compliance officers before. So all I'm saying is, in what I said a month ago, so now we have for over a year or two, and, we spent $250,000 for businesses and facade, and these new businesses need to have signage,
Agreed.
or even old businesses that were missed. So, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for your help.
Thank you.
on this. All right. Anybody else in the audience with regards to,
I would like to just follow up also with the enforcement for 1049, 149.5 Newfield Road. This is what we sent to the owners of ECAD. And actually, I'm gonna give Jeff the credit, so he was the one who drafted this. He said, "Dear Chairman, after reviewing the files for and paying sites visits to the ECAD facility, along with the town planner, Lance Hanson, I propose the following outstanding conditions still require clarification from the applicant. One, when will the driveway be paved, which was a condition of approval? 2, operations continue to be reported outside of the permitted operating hours, 8 AM to 6 PM. ECAD should explain why this condition continues to be broken and provide a remediation plan to halt operations outside of allowed hours. Number 3, confirmation of adherence to the original planting schedule should be provided, and current condition of said plantings should be discussed. Number 4, and actually I would like to say that I had drafted the 35-foot buffer originally in our letter, and Jeff decided to go with the landscaping specifically for it. Number 4, the applicant's project engineer has previously stated that no new drainage calculations are necessary in regarding modifications for the original plan. Perhaps an independent engineering consultant should be brought in to verify the accuracy of that position. It's signed by Jeff Green, zoning enforcement
when was
officer.
that sent out?
That went out the end of last week, the 19th.
It's in one of these, there's a copy of it.
Okay, I just
in
wanted it
here.
to go on the record, yeah, no, I've got it, I just wanted to make sure you put it on the record.
But I wanna make a comment about that. Thank you, good letter, but I don't want anyone to get the impression that that's the beginning and the end of it.
Right.
It's not an all-inclusive letter.
No.
Okay, and he is aware of that. The
We were hoping we were gonna talk about it tonight, but.
Right, okay.
So the answer is yes, but we'll be continuing.
yeah.
So what's the status on the temporary CO? When does that expire?
21 August.
August 21st. If you'd like to meet him, if you haven't already, our building official, Bill Petroface, is here
Hey,
also
Bill.
to join us.
Hi, Bill.
And we've had multiple conversations about that as well. That is the deadline. I got the sense from the board that there won't be any extension for another temporary CO. Bill had suggested, and maybe best if you explain if he has.
Thought I just had, if Mr. Ricard was able to provide signed contracts, finish date certain of everything that needs to be accomplished, if he can provide us with that information, you know, with the actual signed contracts by contractors for everything that has to get done, we may consider extending his temporary CO.
He's had plenty of time since.
Yeah.
I know he has.
I don't agree with that.
All
Yeah,
right, I will, whatever you guys decide,
Due date is due date.
I know he did, I know he had.
Zoning
I'm
standpoint,
just throwing
no.
that out.
We've been more than patient with this guy.
Absolutely understand.
yeah, I think.
I mean, nobody's against what he's doing. It's just how he's doing it.
Stop saying that.
I was just brainstorming, but I will abide by whatever you guys decide, that's what we'll do.
If there had been, activities that he was trying to comply with, and he's just continuing to
Yep.
ignore everything and just
Yes,
do
he is.
anything he pleases. And we asked them the hours of operation. And that's what they're not complying with. So what is it all about? So they could come back in and ask for a modification to that, but we don't even hear, and that's been put in correspondence to them. So we're just asking them to be cooperative, and we're not getting that
Oh,
feedback.
believe me,
Yeah, well, you know.
I've had interactions with him as well, so.
Okay, all right.
So George, I'd like to say one other thing, it's very hard to be a commission member in this town and try to do your due diligence and be fair to everyone when the enforcement is not being enforced. And that's probably why we have a hard time getting people. I know myself, I'm the kind of guy that, either do what you're supposed to do or forget it, and that's how I am. I do what I'm supposed to do, but, it's very frustrating, and we count on you folks and the employment of the town to back us up. And that's all we're asking. I'm trying not to put this on you guys as a negative. It's a positive. You're doing a positive thing, and I understand that we want to be business friendly, okay? But you can't be business friendly if you let the people run the show. It has to be fair across the board to be business friendly, and that's the only way we're going to get it done. So that's why we're putting pressure on you, because enough is enough. I've been on this commission, 2 years now, and there's been zero enforcement. And it just gets frustrating to come back to these meetings again and again on the same stupid thing that should have been complied with months earlier. So that's my frustration.
And the other point too is, you're out there meeting the people that have been applicants and are applicants. First of all, some people are new to this, and they need your help and assistance to make sure they're following up and doing what they need to do. And likewise, if you see something that we've got in our regulations that you feel should be suggested to be changed, please, bring it to us. Because none of us are professionals at this, we're volunteers at it, so if you see something that you can help.
You're good with that,
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah.
I don't want to overstep my bounds.
No, let's wait, let's make it work.
No, but if you find a problem, that's the only way we can resolve it, is
Yeah.
by changing our regulations.
You guys got my back, I'll do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
Yep.
Because there's things that we've missed, because these regulations were changed about 4 years ago, so.
All right.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, just for the knowledge, the TV is still not on, working correctly.
Okay, all right, well, we're gonna continue with the meeting.
George,
Yes,
when Candace was here last time, she also pointed out all the flags, the feather flags that are all over the place, and